YouTube, what it do, man? So today I got a different kind of video for you guys, not uploading a clip today. I want to talk about weapon setups. The best weapon setups for your success for the average to above average player. If you're a GOAT, you're getting 25 kills per game, this video is not for you. But if you're someone in the, .90 to the 2.0 range, this might help you out in Warzone and might give you a little bit of an edge and might help you skill up, might be the reason why you secure a dub. So I'm gonna go ahead and launch this app real quick. I'm gonna take a look at some loadouts, and I'm gonna show you guys what I run, what I think is optimal for Warzone. You know what I mean? First off, I want to say this. If you're not using a silencer in Warzone, I've said this before in my last video where I went over the kilo, you're sleeping. You're sleeping, straight up. You're asking to get killed. If you don't have a suppressed weapon in Warzone, as soon as you fire a bullet, those players that are getting, 25 plus kill games, even 10 plus kill games, they are immediately pinging your location and running straight to you as if you were a bounty. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna switch over my screen real quick, and we're gonna go over some weapon classes. So I've already went over the kilo, but I'll go over it one more time for you guys. So here's my kilo setup. I run two different kilo setups. For zombies, obviously for zombie trios, you want to run your scope. You want to put a thermal scope on there. But as far as how you want to build your gun, monolithic suppressor is typically the best suppressor that you can put on your gun. If you're putting the tactical suppressor or the lightweight suppressor, you're losing a lot of range and you're losing accuracy, so I don't recommend those. Whereas the monolithic suppressor, you get more range, you get more accuracy at the cost of mobility and control. If you're using a gun like the Kilo, the M4, the Growl, those guns, I mean, they almost have no recoil as is, so the loss is very minimal. So what I would say is always run with the monolithic suppressor on every single gun. There's a mono suppressor on every single gun in the game. So definitely always run monolithic suppressor. I don't care if it's a SMG. I don't care if it's a sniper. I don't care if it's an AR. If it's a shotgun, do what you want, man. Like, shotguns, typically you're not going to shoot those unless you're in a close range battle anyway. So if you're inside of a building and you happen to shoot somebody, just be prepared to move or be prepared for people to be coming to you. That's just kind of a rule of thumb. TAC laser. So a lot of people are against the TAC laser because, obviously it shows the laser sight when you're aiming down sights. And sometimes people can see that. But in my opinion, the TAC laser, what you get in ADS speed and what you get in mobility and control is worth the sacrifice that they may or may not see that green light. And if you're truly worried about it, you can put the 1 milliwatt laser on there. Enemies can't see that, but you still get, increased mobility. With this, for example, on the Kilo, you only get in hip fire accuracy. So I would say with an AR, if you're not going to run the TAC laser or the 5 milliwatt laser, you might as well not use one. Really, if you're not running the TAC laser, because the main point of the TAC laser, in my opinion, is for ADS. And if you're running a scope is going to take away ADS. So if you have the TAC laser on there, it kind of meets it in the middle and minimizes that gap. As far as the optics, so I like the PBX Holo 7. If you'll notice, so a lot of people, a lot of the streamers, they opt for the VLK 3.0. And don't get me wrong, it's a great scope, but I typically, if I'm carrying an AR, I snipe a lot. So if I'm carrying an AR, I don't really need an AR with that much of a zoom, because if it's any further, if it's a 3x magnification on the scope, I'm typically going to pull out my sniper and opt to use that. So that's why I like to go over the PBX Holo. And if you'll notice, look at the range and the accuracy right here. And then if we go over to the VLK, you got the range and you got the accuracy. It's minimal change. Very minimal change. But as I said, no matter what scope you use, you're going to lose that aim down sight speed when you put a scope on there. So, if you're using a gun like the Growl, typically with the Growl, the way the iron sights are set up, a lot of people, a lot of people don't use a scope on the growl. I do have a class with the scope on it. I went from using iron sights on every gun, no matter what it is, except for a sniper, to using the scopes recently. And I mean, honestly, it definitely helps. I mean, if you can get away with, if you're able to run at 1440p at 110 FOV, then maybe you can get away with the iron sights, but the scope just definitely helps. As far as, I don't ever put a stock on mine. I don't put the barrel on mine unless I'm doing a long range setup. If I'm not sniping, then I will opt for the Singard Arms 19.8-inch Prowler barrel on my kilo. The tactical foregrip, this is kind of up in the air. This is, going to be an opinion up to an extent, but the tactical foregrip or the commando foregrip, in my opinion, are the best ways to go. Certain people say, use the Merc foregrip because you get some accuracy. I would say go with the Merc foregrip if you're not carrying a sniper and you're going to put, the long range barrel, put the Merc foregrip on there. But again, you lose that ADS speed. And, that's why I like the tactical foregrip or the commando foregrip, is because you don't lose that ADS speed. And you still get range and a decent amount of accuracy for an AR. And again, a rule of thumb for me, if they're more than 150 meters away, if you don't have a sniper, there's really no point in shooting at them. I mean, you're just inviting people to come over to you that are close, that you probably don't know about. That are probably, you got that guy that's camping in a corner. You got that, tryhard that's ready to sweat you out, that's waiting for some bullet shots. And even if you got ghost, and even if you got a silenced weapon and it's not appearing on the map, those kind of guys will come back to bite you in the ass, if you're firing at somebody from 150 meters, especially if you're playing solos or duos. Ammunition, 50-round clip minimum. Period. If you're in WarZone with a 30-round clip, like, unless you're, just goofing off and using like the AS Val, which obviously you're going to put the biggest clip on there anyway, which is the 30-round clip, you got to have at least 50 rounds in there, especially if you're going to, in solos, maybe you can get away with it. And the only way I would say you can get away with it is if you put a 30-round mag on there and then you go and you run sleight of hand. That way at least you can reload quick. But even in solos, man, especially late game where you got people really tight-knit to where you need to be able to snap from this person to the next person with a 30-round clip, unless your aim is just so godlike in the heat of the moment when you got shots being fired onto you, it's not the best way to go. So, I mean, always, my rule of thumb is always use at least a 50-round. I use the 60-round. It does cost me a little bit more mobility, but personally, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? The 60 rounds is enough to. I've cleared out an entire trio with a 60-round clip. So I mean, I swear about the 100-round drum. Don't use it. It's too much. If you're gonna use a 100-round drum, get an LMG. All right. So let's go over some different guns. Here's my sniper setup. So in my opinion, a lot of people like that SPR 208. I still think the HDR is hands down the best sniper in the game. My setup for my sniper, I keep the stock optic on there. It's an 8x optic, and personally, I feel like if you put a different optic on there, you're just wasting an attachment because it already has an optic on there. I go with the tac laser on there, and again, a lot of people say, well, man, they can see the tac laser. They can already see your sniper glint. You feel me? So if they can already see your sniper glint, why not get that extra ADS speed and add the laser on there? Longest barrel possible. That's what I go with, especially on the HDR. If you're using the SPR 208, which I'll go over that in a minute, you can use a shorter barrel because that gun is just broken. I mean, it's hit scan pretty much. There's almost no bullet drop up to like 300 meters on it. But monolithic suppressor, again, I use that on every single gun. Ammunition, don't put extended clips on your sniper. If you got to put extended clips on your sniper, you're either A, hacking and using aimbot, so you just want max bullets so you can constantly shoot people, or B, you're a terrible sniper. And that's just the bottom line. So I'll put the bipod on mine. It gives you a lot more control, and essentially you don't have to hold your breath at all with this sniper with this build. The FTAC Champion is also another thing that I go with. Increases the accuracy almost maxed out, control almost maxed out, and again, it helps so you don't have to hold your breath while you're shooting the sniper. Let's go over SMG setup. So I still think that the MP5 is arguably still the meta. I think it's always going to be the meta. I mean, in every Modern Warfare, the MP5 has been savage. In every Call of Duty ever, the MP5 has always been savage. So my setup for the MP5 is, again, monolithic suppressor. I got attack laser. SMG, since I'm going to engage at close range, I don't opt for an optic. So I don't choose to put an optic on there. I go with the FTAC collapsible stock. Again, I want the most mobility possible that I can get. Ammunition, this is something that a lot of people are going to argue because, again, this is a 30-round clip, but the 10mm rounds, they just hit hard. You know what I mean? And if you're close range, I'm pinging you in the forehead. If you're not aiming for headshots, you're doing yourself a disservice, period. I mean, you should always be aiming for the head, neck and head. You know what I mean? If you happen to catch some recoil when you're correcting it and you hit in the chest, that's fine. But always aim for the head, you know. And that's, again, these 30-round mag for the head, aim straight to the head. The time to kill on it is phenomenal. The 45-round clip, by all means, you know, either one of these clips, you can't really go wrong with either one of these setups. You know what I mean? I just prefer this because you get more range, you get more damage, you get more accuracy, and it doesn't cost you more mobility. So again, like I said, when I'm building my classes, I like to be the most mobile that I can be on my classes. And again, the underbarrel, the tactical foregrip. If it's not the tactical foregrip, I'm using the commando foregrip. You know, a lot of people, again, say you want hipfire accuracy. These guns aren't bad with hipfire accuracy, period. With bone stock, the gun is still pretty solid from hipfire accuracy. So again, this is a great gun to use if you're going to hipfire with this setup. Let's go over some more guns. What do we got here? The AUG. This is a gun I like to, you know, fool around with. But again, if you like the AUG a lot, this is my setup for it. Again, monolithic suppressor, tactical foregrip. I got the 30-round mag ammunition. And the only reason why I say you can slide with the 30-round mag on this is because it's 5.56 ammo. It's AR ammo, but it only comes out of your SMG slot. So you can pick up SMG rounds, and it'll still fill up your 5.56 ammo for this gun. So it's kind of a, you know, it's a pretty solid gun overall. And again, hitting headshots on this gun is nasty. And there was a point, I think I want to say season like 2, 3, and 4, where it was arguably a meta weapon, if not one tier below a meta weapon. I got the FTAC Ultralight Hollow because, again, I want to make this as mobile as possible. And when you put the 5.56 ammo, you are losing a little bit of mobility versus like something like this with the 32-round mags are a little bit heavier. So again, more reason to use the 30-round clip on there. But you'll notice on all my guns, I'm running with the tactical foregrip and the monolithic suppressor and attack laser. And then from there, it's kind of whatever you want to put on there. But with SMGs, I don't run optics on SMGs. Again, I'm not gonna be engaging from long range with a SMG. And if I am, I can make it work with the iron sights, and you should be able to with some practice. This is a ghost class, so I got a RPG on there for that, which I never use. Well, season one, I was using the RPG a lot because season 1, it was just deadly. But and then we'll go to my Grau. Here's my Grau setup. So I got the Halloween version. I got that recently, but again, monolithic suppressor. I got the not the longest range barrel because this gun, honestly, again, if you're not running a sniper, run the Tempest Archangel. You know what I mean? If you're not running a sniper, the range on this gun is so incredible that only run this long range setup if you're not going to use a sniper. And it's arguably you can even skip this. I'll even show you the one. This is more of my fool around class with the shotgun. I'll show you my shotgun class. I even have a silencer on my shotgun. I took off the barrel that it came with. I don't have an optic. Stippled grip for mobility, the 8-round frag rounds, and the Commando foregrip on this particular setup. And I think the only reason that I have the Commando foregrip on this, oh wait, yeah, is because I haven't unlocked it all the way, and I would probably still put the tactical foregrip on this, but I don't use this gun that much. I bought this gun as a meme. I probably will never, level it up. I can't stand shotguns. It's not something that I use very often. But I mean, all power to you if you use shotguns. Not downing them. With the Origin 12 last season being so OP and just people using it all the time, my hatred for shotguns just grew more and more. But I want to show you this. So the AS Val it's a wild card weapon, to say the least. I put the 30-round mag on it, but the time to kill with this weapon, if you're running a sniper, this is a great gun to use with a sniper class. They actually buffed the Kar 98 recently. It's on par with the SPR 208, but it's arguable, depending on your style. I think that the SPR 208 it just sways too much. It's really light, so I'm not a huge fan of that, whereas the Kar 98 still feels like a heavy sniper. So I prefer the Kar 98 personally. But if you're using the SPR 208, my buddy Mike Kelly, he's nasty with the sniper, and he swears by the SPR 208. And he actually uses it for a short range setup. But again, back to the AS Val, my setup for that. Again, I use the Cronin Shark underbarrel, which is similar to a tactical foregrip because they don't have a tactical foregrip for this weapon. But that's basically, and look at the difference in control. It just, with this, your cons on this is movement speed, your con on that is movement speed. So it's pick and choose, but I personally think that this is a better setup if you are going to use the AS Val. 30-round mag, period. If you're not using a 30-round mag on the AS Val, you're playing multiplayer. Straight up. Don't bring this gun into Warzone with anything less than the 30-round mag, unless you're going to try to use it as like a mid to short range sniper where you would put the 10R mags on there. Tac laser, like I said, and then this is built for mobility, and the time to kill on this gun is just phenomenal. I mean, the time to kill on this gun is crazy. I actually think it has the fastest time to kill rate of any AR, and it's even up there with some of the SMGs. Like, it's right up there with the MP5. And this is my Kar 98 setup. So my Kar 98 setup, I have the 25 barrel on there. I haven't maxed this out either. I don't use this typically too much because, like I said, the HDR is just hands down my favorite sniper. I have my only dislike with the Kar 98 is the bullet drop. This gun is going to be, a 200 meter or less sniper. If you're, if you want to stick your neck out there, 250 round or 250 meters, maybe. But I personally think this is just a 200 meter or less sniper. A good gun for solos. This is a good setup for solos if you want to run that way. This is my go-to growl setup. So I got the monolithic suppressor on there. I'm using the stock barrel. I got a tac laser. The only reason I'm using the Commando foregrip on this one is for aesthetics. I mean, if the Cronin Shark is also nasty. You get a lot more control. But again, this gun has such low recoil, almost non-existent recoil as is, that you can get away with pretty much using just about anything. And yeah, there's not a tactical foregrip for this. Again, the PBX Hollow. Partly I'm using this for aesthetics, but also I've grown to love the PBX Hollow scope. I personally think it's the best scope for an AR in Warzone. 60 round mag, period. I mean, again, you can use the 50, if you really want to. It's kind of weird how the 50 round mag. Look how much larger it looks than the 60 round mag. I never really noticed that. But if you want to go with the 50 rounds, you're fine. But nothing less than 50 rounds in an AR, period. No, nothing. You're setting yourself up for failure if you're running a 30-round clip in there, unless you're going to play solos, and then of course you might use sleight of hand, and then where it's maybe acceptable, but again, you're testing the waters a little much. And if if you're trying to secure the dub, if you don't have a lot of wins and you want to get more, you want to set yourself up for the best opportunity for success. You know what I mean? So again, that's the setup for that. And then let's build a SPR 208. If I was going to build a SPR 208, here's how I would build it. Oh, I just unlocked this. I'm going to put this on there just because. But so I would put the 26-inch barrel. I would put a monolithic suppressor on there. The variable zoom scope on the SPR 208 is absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. I don't care what nobody says. It's trash. Stick with this. The Solo Zero. It doesn't have a variable zoom, but I mean, if you can play with the HDR and get used to the stock scope that comes on there, maybe that's why I'm a little biased towards that. I have no problem seeing people at the regular zoom in rate. I don't need to double zoom in to hit somebody in the head. I personally feel like if you have to double zoom somebody to shoot somebody from a distance like that, either A, you're trying to troll, or B, you probably shouldn't be sniping them if you're trying to get the dub, because you got to be tactical. Going for, you know, if you're playing to go for high kills, that's one thing. But if you're playing to win, you don't need to take every single gunfight. You need to think about which gunfights you're going to take. As far as the stock on there, I really like this XRK just because it makes the gun look nasty. But I would put the Lapua mags on mine. The hit scan on the Lapua mags is crazy. It's almost no bullet drop. Barrel. Oh, wait. Why didn't it go on there? I would take away the stock, and I would leave the stock. I wouldn't even put a stock on my SPR. This would probably be my go-to setup for the SPR. And if you don't want to use a tac laser for there, then I would opt for this, or instead of the tac laser, then you could put the stock on there, and you could go with something like, which one is it? Yeah, this right here, and then you could take off the laser. This would be my secondary setup. So either put this stock on there or go with the laser. And obviously, if you're going to go with the short range setup or something like that, you know, my buddy Mike Kelly, I want to say that he runs this with the built-in sniper in it. Oh, no, it doesn't have a built-in sniper. The last one that you unlock has a built-in sniper. He runs that. So you could probably get away with this, you know, if you want a little bit more mobility. But for me personally, this is how I would build out my SPR 208 if I was using it. I don't use this much because I prefer the HDR, but this is still a great gun. You know, my buddy Kelly, he is just disgusting with this weapon. So, like, I stand by it. It's definitely a nasty weapon because I've seen this man shoot people out of helicopters, out of the sky, from 300 meters out with the silencer barrel on there. So again, something you can go with. But I'm going to try to keep this video short. Oh, let's go over some perks. So right now, in this particular class, you'll see I have Cold-Blooded. This is my go-to class for the zombie trios. So I've been using Cold-Blooded because I don't want to be seen with the thermal scope at night. Overkill because there's no point in really having Ghost, because odds are in zombie trios you're going to die at least twice. You know what I mean? It's just going to happen. Like, it's just so chaotic. I use amped. You'll notice I use amped on every single class. I use amped, and that's because the weapon swap speed, and especially if you're running like an overkill class, or if you run 2 ghost class and you happen to have an AR or an SMG, having amped on there just makes it so quick to when you're shooting somebody with an AR from distance and say their teammates running close onto you, you can switch as fast as you can to your SMG and finish that guy off. And, you know, typically you can finish off a whole team easily. It's always going to be quicker to switch your weapon than to reload. So that's just something to keep in mind, which is why I use amped. Lethals, so ever since they made the C4 where you can't throw it past your toenail, I don't use the C4s anymore. I either use the thermites, and I've also been going with the proximity mines a lot lately. I've just kind of completely switched up my tactic with how I play nowadays, and also with the proximity mine. If you have a car coming to you, you can actually throw it down, and as soon as they run across it, it automatically blows up. If I don't know if any of you guys have ever made the mistake of doing this, so I've tried to board off doors, and then I'll set two proximity mines right beside like a four-wheeler by a door, hopes that they'll run past it, it'll blow up the four-wheeler and kill them. Bad idea. It'll blow you up and you'll go down. So, you know, not something to do. But anytime somebody runs across, it don't matter if you just throw it down. Immediately, once you throw it down, if a car runs over top of it, 9 times out of 10, it's going to blow up unless they are literally like already running you over before you've thrown it out. Which, of course, obviously you're going to die in that case scenario. But overkill and ghost. That's it. Overkill and ghost for a second perk. Again, like I said, I opt for mobility, but if you're not going to opt for mobility by using double time as your first perk, go with EOD. You know, EOD is going to make you take less damage from any enemy explosives, which is going to help. And I think, let's look at it real quick. Yeah, non-kill streak explosives and fire. So you're going to take reduced damage from those if you're running EOD. Stun grenades. I stand by stun grenades. I've been messed up so many times by stun grenades, and you literally can't move. Flashes are cool, but a lot of times with a flash grenade, you can still run full speed. So, you know, even though you can't see, the fact that you can still run full speed, if you can take like a mental picture when someone throws a flash, you can kind of go and cut somewhere. And a lot of times I've been flashed and got to safety. With a stun grenade, if you stun them, it's a done deal. For like 8 seconds, they're not moving. You know what I mean? They're just not moving. You can be 75 meters from somebody and stun them and make it to them in time to finish the job. So I stand by stun grenades. If you're not going to use a thermite, in my personal opinion, and you don't want to use a proximity mine, I think the syntax is probably the best. A lot of people like the frag grenades because you can cook them and throw them. But a lot of times when you're cooking them and throw them, it's leaving you vulnerable to get shot, because while you're cooking that and throwing it, that's 5 seconds that you don't have a gun out. So that's 5 seconds that, you know, in 5 seconds you can be downed. You know what I mean? In 5 seconds, you can nearly down 2 players. You know what I mean? So that's just something to think about. Molotovs, you know, certain people use Molotovs. I don't personally, over a syntax grenade or a thermite, I don't think Molotovs are the move. With a thermite grenade, even if somebody's coming at you with a riot shield, you can throw that thermite grenade onto them, and it's going to do damage over time. And they're typically going to freak out and start running around, and that's when you can, you know, pull out your gun and finish the job. But, you know, guys, that kind of wraps it up for my setups and what I think you guys should use. So if you don't like the kilo, I would say the meta weapons, the M4 is always going to be the best overall weapon. The M4 is like, you know, old trusty, you know. And this is my setup. I got it on here. I got a 60 round clip, monolithic suppressor, tactical foregrip. We'll just put it on there. Monolithic suppressor, tactical foregrip, stippled grip tape for more mobility. This particular class that I had set up was for solos. I haven't used this in a while, but again, this is why I say, you know, if you want to mess around with it in solos, you can use sleight of hand, but typically you're gonna want to go with the 60 round clip. And this setup right here is solid. It's almost, you know, it's more recoil than the kilo, or a lot more recoil than the M13. The M13 just has no recoil at all, but the M13 is a pea shooter. So like unless you're hitting people in the head with the M13 and your aim is really good, I wouldn't suggest using the M13, but it's a good gun as far as control. But so I personally think that between the kilo and the M4, those are probably my go-to, my top 2 weapons that I would use. And then if I want to, you know, mess around, another great gun to use is the Ram 7. Now, I don't have a special class built for the Ram 7, but if I were to build a Ram 7, I would build it for a mid-range setup. So what I would do, again, monolithic suppressor. I wouldn't even use a barrel on there. I would put the tac laser on there. I'll get rid of that perk. I'd go with the PBX hollow. Ammunition, 50 round clip. I'd use the stock barrel because, look, the stock barrel and this barrel they're almost identical. So this would be my setup that I would go with. I would have a mid-range setup. If you are going to go with the long-range setup, then go and say you're not going to use a sniper, go with the FSS Ranger, and I would get rid of the stock and just use the base stock that it comes with. And that's pretty much a solid setup. Maybe on this gun for a long-range setup, I might not use the tac laser, because if you're going for a long-range setup, maybe ADS speed isn't your priority because you're going to be engaging from longer distances, which in that case, I would put a tactical foregrip on there, and I would take off the tac laser. So this would probably be my go-to setup. This would be my go-to setup for a long range for the Ram 7. But again, the Ram 7 is going to be more of a difficult gun to use. It's got the highest TTK to the head, which is time to kill. But as far as body shots, I'm pretty sure that the Kilo and the M4 both do more damage to the body. So it's kind of up to you again. Like I said, this video is for the average to above average player that's trying to get more wins. You know, you might be really good, but you don't have a lot of wins. Go with the Kilo. Go with the M4. If you're using an SMG, go with the MP5. If you're using a sniper, either go with the HDR or go with the SPR 208. And then as far as perks, I personally think you should always go with double time, Ghost, and Amped. Or if you're going to get an overkill class, like if I'm not playing, a lot of times I'll grab my overkill class first because I typically have enough money to buy a loadout before the first loadout drops. So what I'll do is I'll pick up my overkill class with prep with the intention of I'm going to go get that second loadout wherever it drops. I'm going to beeline to that wherever it goes. But guys, I'm going to wrap this video up. I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. I'm glad you guys, I hope this helps. You know, but yeah, I'm glad you guys have been following and subscribing and tuning into the live streams. It means the world for me, for real. I love you guys, man. Y'all are the goats. You know, without you guys, this don't work. You know, without you, I can't grow. So again, I love you guys. I hope this helps. You know, I hope this makes things, you know, a little bit more clear for you guys. But we're just gonna wrap this up, man. Until next time. Oh, by the way, MikeBreeze.com. Make sure you check it out, man. I got dope hip-hop music. I got some merch for sale. You can follow me and like my page on Facebook Gaming. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and every other Sunday. But yeah, guys, we're going to wrap this up, man. Appreciate you guys. Take care. Love you all.